4 years ago. The exchange of pennants, the smiles for the photographers. No selection dilemmas for German coach Löw. This starting 11 boasts over 700 caps between them. Number 7, Bastian Schweinsteiger, has 106 of those. Miroslav Klose 135. And the striker is chasing a record today. One more goal for Klose there. We'll see him surpass Brazilian Ronaldo's tally of 15 in World Cup matches. It's 4-5-1 for Germany, but number 13 Thomas Muller and number 8 Mesut Ozil have already been among the goals from midfield. Muller in fact netted a hat-trick in the win over Portugal. There is Oscar, who scored on the opening night against Croatia, and there is his coach Scolari. In his third World Cup, he won the title once. Jogi Löw has not done that, and the feeling in Germany is that he has to win this World Cup to justify his position, though he is contracted for another 2 years. Final prayers to be said for those in the canary yellow and blue today. Germany playing in the change strip of red and black. The referee from Mexico is in the blue top. This is the first of the semi-finals. Remember, tomorrow Netherlands against Argentina, but this Brazil versus Germany, a repeat of the 2002 final, which Brazil won. It was on this very day, 24 years ago, July the 8th, that Germany last won the World Cup. That was in Rome when they beat Argentina by a goal to nil. And most people, I think, are saying that this is a 50-50 call. How will Brazil respond to the loss of Neymar? Straight away the ball is played up there, but only onto the head of the tall fullback Vs. Brazil with the first attack, featuring Maicon, who's won a starting place again ahead of Dani Alves. The ball went out for the corner. Will be the first of the match for Brazil, won by Fernandinho. Bastian Schweinsteiger in his third World Cup finals, just unable to keep the whole of the ball crossing that line. Oscar is charged with taking the corner kicks for Brazil. David Luiz, who's got 2 goals in these finals, is one of those in here for this one. And eventually Oscar will be allowed to take it. Doesn't decide to pull it short, puts it into the mix, and then breaks for Marcelo, one of the curly-haired brigade, favoured by so many of the Brazilians. And that's a deep ball in there, very well dealt with initially by Vs. Germany have not yet got into the Brazilian half, and they won't do there because of the slip from Ozil, which encourages Oscar to move closer to the 18-yard zone of the German defence. This will be just kept in by the diminutive Bernard. Well, we expected a strong and a stirring start from the South Americans, and that's what we're getting. Both these teams unbeaten in reaching this stage of the finals. Luis Gustavo bowled over, no free kick given, but Marcelo may get a shot through here. He does, it's wide. First shot of the game, and it comes from the Brazilian left fullback Marcelo. He does have goals in his locker. He's pulled this one right across the face of goal, however, the defender from Real Madrid. That was the little nudge there from Schweinsteiger on Luis Gustavo that 60,000 people in this stadium thought merited a free kick. And what important man was that man in blue, the referee Marco Rodriguez. David Luiz, who has grown in stature so much so, they said he could be qualified as a saint before long if he keeps going like this. And what a ball that is! Over to the far side, grabbed by Neuer, just as Bernard came in to try and tip it past him. A lovely ball from Hulk. But Germany are always resourceful, and so they will be here. Dante comes to the rescue after David Luiz got in the first challenge. You can barely hear yourself think in the stadium. That was a lovely ball from Hulk, and Neuer had to stretch all of his 6'5" frame. Now Hummels, who just like David Luiz has got 2 goals in these finals, though a centre-back, Schweinsteiger. Ozil's ball rebounds off Maicon. This is Benedikt Hövedes asking for the ball. The left full-back from Schalke, he's captain of his club side. And gradual progress being made down the touchline under the gaze of the Brazilian coach who won the World Cup with Brazil in 2002. He also took Portugal to 3rd place in 2006 in Germany. A clever little back heel. Nice play, and then Kroos, but the interception here could prove costly. Brazil unable to make any acceleration down that left touchline. Jogi Löw, now at the age of 54, was assistant to Jürgen Klinsmann when the World Cup finals were staged in Germany in 2006. And he was very critical at his press conference yesterday about some of the tackling that's gone on in the quarter-finals of the World Cup, which he thought went beyond the bounds. And he cited Brazil in particular, which was quite an incendiary thing to do in their game with Colombia. The one, of course, in which Neymar was injured. Scolari did ask Neymar to come to the stadium today, and a medical decision was being taken as to whether the great player could make the journey or not. He's gone back to his hometown to begin his rehabilitation from his vertebrae injury. That's a very sloppy attempted pass. It's Fernandinho there who gave the ball away, but he darted in to make sure there was no dire consequence. Well, Bernard's only about 5'5", so he'd have needed step ladders to get to that. Here it is, a lovely view of the Mineirão Stadium in Belo Horizonte, which also staged games in 1950, but not in this particular stadium. It was a most unusual contribution from Maicon. He's a right fullback, but he was bursting through the centre of the field. No doubt he will tell you he knew exactly what he was doing. The man taking this throw-in, who's won his place back from Dani Alves. Oh, Julio César. To Dante, getting his first action in these World Cup finals. Only he and the reserve defender Maxwell hitherto had not played a part in at least one of the games. They've not got the ball through to Fred at all yet, Brazil. Turning here, Sami Khedira, an elegant mover on the ball, and he plays it wide. Danger here to Brazil for the first time in the game. Allowed to run through by Maicon, perhaps into the danger area. Good block there. Shout for a handball. It was Khedira's shot. Germany will come again. Both these sides scored early goals in the quarter-finals. Into the danger zone once more, but the free kick will be awarded by the Mexican official in favour of the home nation. Sami Khedira got the shot through there after Ozil's pass into the heart of the penalty area. It actually came back off his own man. And then a tangle of bodies between Klose and David Luiz. But it was Toni Kroos who got in the way of the shot from Khedira. Coming up to 8 minutes played in the first of the two semi-finals of the FIFA 2014 World Cup in Belo Horizonte. Interception from Hurvides. Wide is Ozil. Maicon intercepted because he saw what was on there. Very sharp thinking from Maicon. Now it's Fred. Fred tries to tickle the ball in there for Oscar. Schweinsteiger was in the way. Germany with an option here. Important block by David Luiz, who has to go racing back again here now, though. Pull back in for Khedira. An angle pass from him. Muller loses out and then tries to grab the player back. And did so, and the referee might even have thought of a yellow card there against Thomas Muller. He was cursing himself because his first touch betrayed him. Marcelo took it away. He had one little dab at grabbing the shirt of Marcelo, who then did go to ground. Time to tie up the laces. Brazil scored early through Thiago Silva in their last game against Colombia. Another free kick Brazil's way in against Miroslav Klose. Germany also scored early. Mats Hummel's goal turned out to be the only goal against the French. David Luiz smashes it one side of the field to the other towards Hulk, who can't take it down. Harassed and harried. Well, complete misunderstanding by Marcel. Germany have three forward here against only two in defence. Can Germany get the breakthrough that the home nation is dreading? Well, they've got numbers back, and it was Marcelo who came charging back. Now he says sorry. Unfortunately for him, Brazil did not come to grief. 10 minutes played, 0-0. Germany's first corner. Plenty of height on it. It's gone through. Germany score! It's exactly what Brazil was dreading. Thomas Muller, with his fifth goal of these World Cup finals, sends a shiver through the nation. All eyes there at Fernandinho. Brazil 0, Germany 1 in the 11th minute from their first corner, and it's gone all the way through to Muller, and nobody picked him up at all. Kroos with the delivery, Muller with the sidestep, and he now matches his tally of 5 goals in South Africa 4 years ago. But it's a sickening moment for Brazil. 200 million people will have hated that sight. The Germans here in Belo Horizonte, and one ecstatic coach rather enjoyed the side foot of Thomas Muller that dispatched the ball into Brazil's net in the 11th minute. And Muller's World Cup record just gets better and better. Well, I did say, there he is, 5 goals in 6 matches, that Brazil was dreading an early concession. They've got to come from behind. They've done it before. They were behind against Croatia in the opening game and eventually won 3-1. That was Hulk just prodding the ball out. Thomas Muller with a hat-trick against Portugal has also scored now against United States and Brazil in these finals to add to the 5 goals. He was Golden Shoe winner, remember, in South Africa. So he has 10 World Cup goals in a very short career. David Luiz. This will be a test of the home nation. Remember, they've no Neymar today to inspire them, and they've no captain in Thiago, suspended. What they do have is 78 minutes on the clock in which to do something about it, in which to strike back. It's not a bad flick on either, and Germany come again with Muller at the heart of things once more. Now David Luiz does step in. He strides imperiously through the midfield. The option on his left gets provided by Hulk. A good ball in here, and there could be something on for Brazil. Oh, it took a tickle off the foot of one of the German defence. Otherwise, it might now be one apiece, and the Brazilian commentators would be in raptures around me. As it is, it's a free kick for Germany. And a slightly chilling statistic for our South American friends is that Germany are unbeaten in their last 4 World Cup matches against South American opposition since losing the 2002 final to Brazil. And that loss was their only one in the last 9 World Cup games against South American sides since losing the 1986 final to Argentina. They are ominously redoubtable opponents. They somehow know how to win football matches. But then so do Brazil. In fact, if you want a statistic to redress the balance, Brazil are unbeaten in 42 home games since 2002 against Paraguay, and in 63 home competitive games since they lost to Peru in, would you believe, 1975. They'll need better passes than that one from Hulk. Brazil have been training in the mountains in Teresópolis. And it's a relatively cool day here in Belo Horizonte. After some of the very hot temperatures we've had with the 1 o'clock kickoffs. 5 o'clock here, the kickoff, by the way, wherever you're watching around the world. And there is a little fella, Bernard, who plays for Shakhtar Donetsk these days, but played here in Belo Horizonte at this stadium for Atlético Mineiro prior to moving there. Brazil 0, Germany 1 with quarter of an hour gone. Muller's header, and then another header on from Khedira. David Luiz. More of a hopeful punt than anything else. Hummels. And rather lazy from him for once. So Maicon. Bernard. Maicon continues his gallop. There's only one Brazilian across in the centre though, and Maicon just played the ball straight against Hummels' legs. It's the first time the Germans have been to this city. They've been just about everywhere else during this tour of Brazil in the World Cup finals, and it is a very big country. We can all vouch for that. Oscar now. Dante. Fernandinho made himself available, no foul there, but Oscar with a second chance does play Hulk forward now. Here's the big chance for Brazil. Is this a penalty kick? No, it's a corner kick. And there's an immediate response here between players who decide to take the law into their own hands. Muller is trying to act as peacemaker. Luis Gustavo, who's only just back from suspension, is also heatedly involved, as is Boateng. This will be an interesting one. The Mexican referee immediately pointed for a corner and not to the penalty spot, so there's no question of him reversing his decision. And Boateng is the one who is told to calm down, along with Marcelo. Here we have it. Marcelo. It's Philip Lahm in there with the challenge. Marcelo immediately thought penalty kick. He got a shove in the chest from Boateng. He gave him a little push back, and it was all amicably sorted out in the end. And that's not a bad ball in for Oscar. Taken on the chest. He'll weave around and cross the ball in. It's lifted up into the air to safety for the moment by Hummels. Maicon. There have been 11 penalties so far in these World Cup finals. 10 of them scored and only 1 missed. The tally was not added to by the Mexican official there as Germany break here dangerously with Müller. It's as well there that the back heel of Maicon not only snubbed out the German move but got his own team dashing forward in the shape now of Marcelo. Fernandinho. The portents are good for the game. At the moment, what Brazil must not do is, of course, concede a second goal. It's a very open contest. Free kick, Brazil. I do believe the goal from Thomas Müller is the 2000th international goal scored by Germany. Marvellous statistic. There are so many about this game. And of course the one man who wants a goal today is Miroslav Klose. He's level with Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, with 15 international goals, having scored here in these finals against Ghana. This is Maicon for Brazil. Not a bad little ball in there, but Oscar couldn't take it. So Schweinsteiger is playing a very deep role today. Shuffles the ball forward. Surely it looks as though that one went out. The referee's assistant said it didn't. There would have been an inquest if Germany had gone on to score a second goal. They lead by 1. And it breaks here for Klose. Still Klose, and about 4 in Klose tenders to him, all in yellow shirts. The other thing about Klose is today he's second in the all-time World Cup appearance list, along with Paolo Maldini, with only Lothar Matthäus having played more games in the finals. So Klose says he wants to go out in the final. He'll retire from international football after these World Cup finals at the age of 36. Boateng now. Germany do look dangerous every time they attack, and Khedira's in a handy position here, just outside the 18-yard area. This will be picked up, gathered in comfortably by Julio Cesar. There is Miroslav Klose. And Germany have never lost a match when he's scored a goal. And he's played in 135 games and scored 70 goals. That's some tally. Oscar for Brazil. Coming up to the midway point of the opening half in Belo Horizonte. Well, Marcelo does really well there. That was great technique to keep that ball in play and to find Hulk. But it says Germany break again here. This is when they really do look ominously dangerous. And although this is cut back, they will have a throw-in. Conceded by Dante. But Thomas Müller is revelling in the freedom he's getting down that right touchline at the moment. He's also got the 1 goal of the game so far. Oh, and a mistake in defence here could let Kroos in. A chance of a second for Germany. Brazil in real trouble. They're in dire trouble now. We have a World Cup record. Supplied by Miroslav Klose. Goal number 16 in his World Cup career. Jogi Löw's side are 2 goals to the good. Scolari is looking for a hiding place. Well, they were all at sea with the Brazilian defence here when Germany took advantage there. It got through to Kroos. Klose had one chance. He didn't miss the second time around. Muller was also in there. Julio Cesar could do no better than parry, and Miroslav Klose has not just his second goal of these World Cup finals, he's now one better than the great Ronaldo in all-time scoring charts with his 16th World Cup finals goal. And what it all adds up to is a scoreline of Brazil 0, Germany 2, and we're only halfway through the first half. Tears from Brazilian fans already. There's a long way to go. Maybe here now, Bernard. Not quite. Well, football can be a cruel game. Bernard, it just got away from him there. The one game that Brazil did not want to play in here in their own country was the fourth playoff match. But that's where they're destined to go, to Brasilia at the moment, for the match on Saturday. And Germany are looking good for the final on Sunday. They might get another one here. It's 3-0. It's a romp for the Germans. The game may be won and lost inside 25 minutes thanks to the left foot of Toni Kroos. The Brazilians are in disbelief. They are stunned. They have come here for a samba, and they have been totally rocked back on their heels by the always formidable Germans. Just look at the faces. The Brazilians are crestfallen. Ozil played it into that position. It was cut back in. Where was the Brazilian defence? Julio Cesar was totally exposed. The left foot of Toni Kroos may have just hammered Germany into the final of the World Cup 2014. What a scoreline for me to deliver from Belo Horizonte. 25 minutes played. Brazil 0, Germany 3. Oh, it might get worse. This is 4. This is quite astonishing. It's all over now. It really is all over for Brazil. 2 for Kroos in 2 minutes. It's a disaster. The little boy is crying his eyes out. A whole nation is in disbelief, stunned into silence. Can 70,000 people be silent? Well, they are now, because Toni Kroos has scored not 1 but 2 goals in 2 minutes, his first in the World Cup finals. It's a disaster day for Brazilian football. Khedira, Kroos, the goalkeeper nowhere. It's all over. Toni Kroos, on the day he wins cap number 50, scores goals number 6 and 7 in the space of 2 minutes. No words are necessary over shots like that one. I think it's probably the most astonishing scoreline I've ever had to give out. Brazil 0, Germany 4. I won't say there are fans leaving the stadium, but they probably feel as though they might as well. And the way Brazil has caved in has been beyond belief. Kroos on 24 and 26 minutes has just ended a World Cup dream, and it's 1950 all over again, except this is the semi-final and not even the final. What can they do from here? If Brazil were to come back and win this, I would say it would be probably the greatest comeback of all time in a football match. Can it possibly be? Hulk, they need something just to give them a lift. They must be so demoralised, those players in the canary yellow and blue. Fernandinho's trying to give them something here. A scrap to feed off. Maicon. You remember those statistics? Brazil unbeaten in 42 home games since 2002. They might have a free kick here. No, they won't. It's only a goal kick. Nothing is going their way. And Brazil, we have another look here at Hulk going to ground. He hurdled over the leg. No free kick. Correct decision. And Brazil have not lost a competitive home game in 63 matches since 1975. 39 years on. It's almost certain they're going to lose the next one. Just one other little statistic for you. Brazil began the day with 220 World Cup game goals to their name. Germany 216. They've drawn level in the space of 26 minutes. And they're here again. There's three forward. Khedira, Özil. They're queuing up. They're all going to score at this rate. Khedira, the latest name on the score sheet. And the Brazilians look as though they want to go to the dressing room already. There is no hiding place for this rampant German side. What on earth can Scolari do about this? It's the biggest test of his career. Just so many red and black shirts around. Brazil totally all at sea. Özil, it's like, who wants it next? Who wants to score a goal? Sami Khedira said, I think it's my turn. Why not me? Özil gave him the chance and he tucked it away with some relish. Brazil 0, Germany 5. They equal the top score in these World Cup finals. Remember, the Dutch beat Spain by 5-1. Julio Cesar must be wondering what on earth is going on in front of him there. Khedira's first World Cup goal here. He scored one against Uruguay in South Africa 4 years ago. But if anybody had said to anybody else today it'll be 5-0 before we'd been playing for half an hour, they'd have been put in a lunatic asylum. Brazil 0, Germany 5, I repeat. Muller, Klose, Kroos 2, Khedira. If your name begins with a K, you're likely to get a goal here today. Now here's a funny one for you. Brazil have had 55% of the possession. Doesn't really count for much, does it, when you're 5 goals down? I don't think anybody wanted to see this, to be fair. Well, I suppose the German fans did. Well, those who've gathered here in Belo Horizonte will be regarding this as their favourite holiday destination of the future. If you cast your minds back to 1990, well, there we have a very, very, very sad shot. That's Thiago, the captain of Brazil, who must be wondering if it would have been different if he'd been there. And you do have to ponder that question, because Dante and David Luiz have looked very uncomfortable in one another's company at the heart of the Brazilian defence today. Here come the Germans yet again. Oh, it's deflected wide, fortunately, otherwise I'd have been saying 6-0. In 1998, Brazil lost 3-0 in the final to France in Paris. That was hitherto their previous worst defeat. It could have just got worse still with a 6th goal. The Germans just look irresistible. And I wouldn't imagine that the Netherlands and Argentina are enjoying watching this performance. They play tomorrow in Sao Paulo. And ruthless though the Germans have been, and let me tell you again, they've now gone beyond Brazil's record number of goals in the World Cup finals. You have to say some of the Brazilian defending has been shoddy at least, or at best. It's a truly horrific scoreline which will be greeted with disbelief around the world. Free kick Germany now. Well, they must clearly be exasperated. David Luiz has gone to apologise to Thomas Müller. Well, the Brazilian players arrived today, all wearing baseball caps with the message "Force Neymar," wishing their best to the stricken striker. And boy, are they missing him. And boy, are they missing Thiago in defence as well. And Germany have exploited that to the full. You almost don't want Germany to score again. It would be so humiliating for Brazil, but they might. It might just get worse. It's a goal kick. In a strange way, you wonder what on earth Joachim Löw will say to his players in the dressing room. That's Miroslav Klose creating history with his 16th World Cup Finals goal on his 136th appearance, his 71st goal of his international career. And I think that statistic about Germany never having lost when Klose has scored is pretty safe today. He's on the ball again now. Miroslav Klose continues on the gallop. 4 Germans up against 3 defenders. But an errant pass for once. Fernandinho to Hulk. Well, imagine if you're Scolari and thinking of a substitute. Could you imagine saying to somebody, go and win us the game. Go and score us 6 goals. Not something I think that he will be saying to the likes of Joe or Paulinho or William. Germany have also kept 3 clean sheets in this World Cup so far, the joint most, along with Argentina, Costa Rica and France. So Brazil at least will hope to get 1 goal to dent that record, but they're back on the defensive again. Kroos, who is such a vital player for Germany, stabbing this one to Özil, but then it's closer, it all fell down. The crowd are, I can't say silent because that would be wrong, but they just don't know what to make of this at all. Nobody but nobody could have come here today expected to witness the carnage that we've seen. 10 minutes to go to half-time. Brazil 0, Germany 5. Sounds as though Manuel Neuer there saying, what's going on? He's not had a shot to stop. Brazil have so far managed 1 shot. It was not on goal. Germany have had 9. Every one of the 9 was on the target. And they're coming for a 10th through Hövedes from Schalke. Özil. There looks to be panic in the Brazilian ranks every time the Germans move forward in number as a unit, as they do now. Germany's 12th semi-final match and the 13th time in the Final 4 of a World Cup. They've lost their last 2 semi-final matches without scoring. To Spain in 2010 and to Italy in 2006, but you can't see them losing this one somehow. Mistakes continue to be made by that Brazilian defence, which is just either coughing the possession up or not getting in on people, not defending at all. Kroos, who's on a hat-trick, remember. Just look how many Germans are around the edge of the Brazilian penalty area here. They're queuing up and they have a free kick now. Luis Gustavo is disconsolate. It won't be surprising if some Brazilian heads go down. Luis Gustavo on Müller. And you wonder how on earth they're going to react on Saturday when they have to play in Brasilia in the 3rd, 4th playoff game. It's 1950 revisited. The defeat against Uruguay in the final of that year by 2 goals to 1. has haunted the prospects all the way through this campaign. They've always been worried about that happening again, but they never thought that this could possibly happen on semi-final day. Looks as though Schweinsteiger could try his luck. Now it's a left-footed one, clipped over the top of the bar by Özil. The one they call Nemo because of his resemblance to a cartoon character. And for once, Germany didn't get it right. Their first shot off the target out of 10. I can't remember the last attack Brazil had. Well, Jogi Löw has come in for some criticism in certain quarters in Germany. He's never won a title, of course. He was assistant to Jürgen Klinsmann in 2006 when Germany finished third. He's not been able to win a European Championship, but he stands on the threshold of taking his country into their first finals since winning the World Cup in 2002 in Yokohama against today's opposition. Germany's last win was back in 1990 in Italy, courtesy of Andy Bremer's goal against Argentina. It's such a one-sided contest. Something nobody envisaged. Closer. Back for Kroos and then for Khedira. Funnily enough, Germany have never lost to World Cup hosts since England in 1966 in the final, and they've played most hosts since then. Well, that's summing Brazil up, I'm afraid. Quite wretched attempted forward ball from Fernandinho. And in truth, Scolari could make 3 substitutions at half-time and it would still make no difference. Kroos. 40 minutes played, Brazil 0, Germany 5. And that's not a misread or a misprint or anything, and they're looking for number 6 here. This time Dante is in the way, but Brazil struggle to retain the possession. It's almost as though they've forgotten how to play. Hulk. They must be just so crestfallen, so disconsolate. What on earth does Scolari say in the dressing room at half-time? Bernard unable to get through there. Khedira. He is dispossessed by the enthusiastic Marcelo. Brazil just need at least a goal to give them a smattering of, not exactly hope, but of comfort. But they've left themselves utterly exposed defensively today. Never able to cope with the German pattern of play and the clinical finishing. But some of it has to be said, was down to awful defending. Now Brazil have a chance. Oscar into the German penalty area. Shot blocked. Breaks to Bernard. Oscar once again wriggling and writhing his way through into a good position, but this is where the Brazilians are vulnerable on the German counter-attacks. They use width so well. They have the width supplied by Mesut Özil, accompanied by Bastian Schweinsteiger, then by Toni Kroos, who for once sprays the pass errantly. Brazil cannot wait to get into the sanctuary of their dressing room. They've 3 minutes plus a little bit of added time in which to do that. Kroos, very much the orchestrator. He's really enhanced his reputation at these World Cup finals as Toni Kroos, the Bayern Munich midfielder. Muller. Lahm playing in the right fullback position today. Started the tournament in a midfield role. This is back to Julio Cesar, who must wonder what on earth has hit him today. Only managed one clean sheet in the tournament, and that has proved Brazil's vulnerability. Before today, Brazil had scored 10 and conceded 4. It's now 10-9, but they're looking for goal number 10 or goal number 11 of their own here, with Hulk to the fore. And Brazil do have a free kick. It's almost as though nobody cares now. It doesn't matter. The game was won and lost by the 24th minute. Quite incredible as we look again here at Bernard heading the ball and Khedira going across him. Germany scored 4 goals in 6 minutes. That may well be something of a World Cup record as well. Klose on 23, Kroos on 24, and again on 26, Khedira on 29. By which time, I'm sure a lot of television sets had been switched off in Brazil. The ball is in here, but it would be really cruel if Germany scored again before half-time. They fall forward again ominously. Maicon manages to intercept that intended pass. Muller's early goal was bad enough on 11 minutes, but the subsequent minutes have just destroyed all belief that Brazil have. This one is launched towards Fred. I can't remember Fred being involved in the game at all, and he's not involved here either because the ball goes beyond him. And for the first time, there's booing around the stadium from the Brazilian supporters. They must have hated what they've seen today. Now they might get a bit perked up. Marcelo, good run from him. Oscar couldn't control the pass. And it's backs to the wall again as we move to the 45-minute mark with 1 to be added. I think Germany will settle for this. David Luiz, so much a hero, so much has been written about the defender moving from Chelsea to Paris Saint-Germain this summer, and saying he could put up for election at the moment and he'd be voted in as president. He's been so popular. But I'm afraid nobody in the yellow shirt is popular at the moment. Scolari stands helplessly in the technical zone. That's a great run. That does show some spirit from Hulk, but he can't keep the ball in. Scolari was the Portugal coach when they lost to Germany in the 3rd-4th playoff match. Well, this was just one of the goals, the last one from Sami Khedira. Maybe a slight question of offside there, but there's no question about who's going to win this match. The scoreline has to be repeated. That face tells it all. Muller got the first goal in the 11th minute. Miroslav Klose there, taking congratulations for setting up a new World Cup record, got the second. The carnival continued for the Germans with a couple of Kroos goals, and Khedira got the 5th. There'll be no samba in Belo Horizonte tonight. It's Brazil 0, Germany 5. So it's the second half of the first of the 2 semi-finals of the FIFA World Cup of 2014. Brazil and Germany, the latter leading by 5 goals to 0. The Europeans against the South American hosts. Well, I think the one thing that we're pretty emphatic about is there won't be a penalty shootout required today. There will be a free kick immediately here for Brazil. Against Kroos, who scored 2 of the 5 goals. Marcelo now for Brazil. That is the situation of the match. If you're wondering, Brazil's record defeats came all of 94 years ago, when they were beaten 6-0 by Uruguay. Ramirez, the Chelsea midfield player, on in place of Hulk, who's not got a goal in these finals, and Fernandinho, who was caught ball watching at least twice and punished twice in the first half, has been replaced by Paulinho. One wonders if Germany can retain the momentum that they had in that first half. Paulinho sort of lumbers onto the ball a bit here, challenged by Mertesacker. Marcelo forward in here for Ramirez. Well, it would be nice to see at least one Brazilian goal to give the crowd something to cheer about and take home as a souvenir from this semi-final. It was here, of course, that Brazil beat Chile. They knocked them out in a penalty shootout after a 1-1 scoreline. So they came here with very happy memories of this stadium. But at the moment, it would appear that the European side is destined to play in an 8th final. They've won 3, they've lost 4. Tangle of bodies here with Luis Gustavo, who plays his club football in Germany, of course, at Wolfsburg, the principal aggressor. Lahm, the captain of Germany, you bet he can't believe this situation either, but he must be thinking of the possibility of stepping up to receive the World Cup in Sunday's final in Rio. Whether it will be the Netherlands or Argentina, we shall find out tomorrow. Something quite extraordinary is required for it not to be Germany in that final. David Luiz, who also had a torrid first half, having been imperious throughout the competition hitherto. And that is David Luiz, and that's the best ball he's played so far today. It does release Maicon, and here is the cross aimed at Fred. Chance for Oscar here, and down he goes. No penalty kick. I don't think he tried to win one, to be fair. He took a tumble, but never any question of a penalty to be given. It's back in towards Fred now, and again the Brazilian goes down, and again there is no point of the finger from the official. Per Mertesacker, the tall number 17. And this is where Oscar went to ground. Just almost ran into Boateng. Well, goals have come from all around this German side. They began, you may remember, with a 4-0 triumph against Portugal, with a hat-trick in that match from Thomas Muller and a goal from centre-back Mats Hummels. Bernard can't get a meaningful touch on the ball. They continued with a 2-2 draw against Ghana, one of the matches in which Miroslav Klose scored. Here is the statistic of possession, which shows that Brazil are still enjoying a greater share of the ball. But the shots on goal is telling. Luis Gustavo, Paulinho. David Luiz, always willing to stride forward. He scored with a 30-yard free kick in the last game. Marcelo had to chase after that one to get the possession. And then Paulinho, a better start by Brazil to this half. It could hardly have been worse, could it? Knocked in by Bernard, long, and Neuer got a finger on it. Hervedes launched the ball forward. Klose beating away Dante. Marcelo. And then Oscar, not a good touch really, but a shot and a chance for Fred maybe. It is Fred, slides it through. They're 3 forward here. The ball didn't reach Oscar when it should have done. It was meant to reach him from Ramirez. And for once it was Germany who was surviving there, with Brazil seemingly having the advantage in numbers. And there is a chance for Brazil going up for almost the first time today, I think. 5 minutes played in the second half, the scoreline unaltered. This was the move. Ramirez hooking it back in there. Fred taking it down, trying to weave into position, and then a goal looked certain, and it would have been a goal had it got through as far as Oscar from the Ramirez pass. But Neuer stretched the glove. Spirited running from Bernard, accompanied by Marcelo. Plenty of yellow shirts around the edge of the area here. It's Ramirez. Surely they're going to get one, are they? Ramirez again. No, and Neuer once again foils Brazil, who at least have come out showing some stout hearts. Well, they look certain to score, not just once but twice in these opening minutes, but for Manuel Neuer there. Ramirez appears to have made some impact. Back again here now. But it's in a more forward position that he's really made a big impact. Luis Gustavo. Marcelo asking for the ball in a wide position left. In fact, it goes even further wide to Bernard. Still Bernard, who's a tricky little winger. And that will be a corner. First of the half for Brazil. Muller contests it. Only their second of the game. They got an early one in the first half as well. And Bernard will take this corner for Brazil, looking for a consolation goal this early. Once again, Neuer's there with the fist. Marcelo, however. Shot blocked. Ramirez gets it through here. It's Paulinho! Neuer, Paulinho! Is Neuer going to be beaten today? That is the question. I'm not quite sure why he's complaining to the referee. Paulinho was definitely onside as he broke into the penalty area there, but Neuer foiled him not once but twice. It's been that sort of day for Brazil. Letting them in at one end, not scoring at the other. But at least in this half they're giving it a go. And it would have been so easy for their heads to drop totally. Marcelo. Surprising how Germany have been prized open so easily as well. On at least 3 occasions. But their finishing has been more ruthless. And Neuer so far is having an unbelievably second half. He's made 4 saves already. Every one at close quarters. Muller down, free kick against Luis Gustavo. He'll be warned, I think, that his next offence could produce a yellow card. We have had the amnesty, of course, no yellow cards in the quarter-finals. Well, here we have it. Paulinho thumped it in. It was directly at Neuer. And then the tall German goalkeeper got his fingers in the way of the second effort. Good goalkeeping from the man from Bayern Munich, who has conceded 3 and kept 3 clean sheets so far. Today maybe number 4. A man, by the way, who won £500,000 for charity on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in Germany. Well, Scolari would give anything for just a goal, let alone $1 million. Touched out to Marcelo. He's got a chance to make ground here. Germany funnel back. Marcelo continues forward. Not a bad looking ball, but slightly just too much elevation and pace on it for Oscar. Must be so difficult for these Brazilians knowing the contest is over. And they're not going to be making the right headlines in the newspapers or on Globo TV tonight. The nation has been truly gripped by this World Cup, which continues to produce plenty of goals, by the way. We've now surpassed the tally from Korea and Japan in 2002. We're on to 164 goals in these finals. Korea-Japan had 161, and the only World Cup that produced more goals than this one was France 1998, 171. So we're 7 adrift of that target. Still with 3 games to go after this one. And still time to add, of course, in this half. The first German raid in this half, led by Müller. I think that might have gone dead. No, it did not, but David Luiz breasts the ball back. Marcelo's seen plenty of the ball in this half. Neuer acting as sweeper now and taken down rather unceremoniously by Ramirez. The referee is keeping his yellow cards in his pocket at the moment. Lahm. Back by Schweinsteiger. Then Boateng, whose half-brother is, of course, Kevin Prince Boateng, who was playing in these World Cup finals for Ghana until he was sent home. Andre Schürrle will be a substitute for Germany now, probably. Indeed, that is the case. Schürrle for Klose, who'll get a good hand as he goes off, I'm sure. He's broken the record, the highest scorer in World Cup history. He's overtaken Ronaldo with his 16th goal, the Polish-born striker Miroslav Klose, and this is his golden moment. He thought he'd been denied by Julio César, but given a second invitation, he stabbed it home. The replacement, Schürrle, has 1 World Cup finals goal to his name from the victory over Algeria. And the first thing Schürrle does is take his man Marcelo down and out of the action. Free kick. Brazil looking for 1 scrap of consolation. A goal. Just 1 goal. Won't come from this. That will be Neuer's ball. Well, Klose has broken a record. The attendance here has broken a record as well, because the total attendances for Brazil 2014 have now gone beyond those in South Africa 4 years ago. Doesn't quite get through. Second one does. Fred foiled by Neuer again. Well, Neuer's made more saves in the second half than he ever looked like having to make in the first. Brazil have managed to conjure up a lot of chances in this half, and now it's played in here. Schürrle, I think, thought he was offside, so he stopped running. I hesitate to say this, but it's almost as though Germany do not want to rub Brazil's noses in it anymore. Oh, and then the ball is given away for Müller. Müller round the goalkeeper, but Julio César to the rescue. Should have been 6. It's understandable, but it's almost as though Germany have lost the will to score goals at the moment. Müller had a real opportunity there for his second of the day. Remember, he's already got 1 hat-trick in these finals. It's a strange second half because of the scenario. Goal scoring was made to look simple in the first half by the European nation. Schürrle to Khedira. Müller, another chance for him, tipped over. Fine stop, Julio César. Well, Müller really meant that one. No doubt about that, he's got his appetite back. But that's as good a save as we've seen. Julio César playing his football in Toronto these days, having lost his spot at Queen's Park Rangers in England. An hour gone, Brazil 0, Germany 5 still. Good header, little Bernard gets up for a header. That says a great deal. And they're still willing to put the effort in. Oscar. Sadly won't be winning an Oscar today. David Luiz. Now Bernard, who really is trying hard. He's the local favourite, of course, from this part of the world. David Luiz angles it through. Maicon. And again, a big collective roar for a penalty kick. Why are the Germans surrounding the Mexican referee? One assumes because they feel as though the opponent went down trying to win a penalty by a dive from Boateng's challenge. The Brazilian corner. It will reach Bernard, who will launch it back in. The man in green has it. The man in green's had everything this half. Now to the man in grey, and there must be some very grey faces around in Brazil at the moment as well. Some white. And this scoreline enough to turn people's hair white. Luis Gonzalez. Oscar wide. The ball in does not go beyond Mertesacker. Well, a job well done for Miroslav Klose. For Ronaldo, though, the man whose record he has overtaken, nothing but sadness, I'm sure. Ronaldo working for television here in Brazil. He scored both goals that beat Germany in 2002 in the final in Yokohama. But nobody in yellow has managed a goal as yet today. Bernard won't get onto this one. It's the first meeting between these teams in Brazil since 1992, when Brazil won 3-1. And Brazil are not used to not scoring a goal. Paulinho now. Just a final touch too heavy. Long again for Bernard. It's worth the chase. Will he get to it? He will. Hooks it through the area, but only as far as Hervidis. Now it's David Luiz. Brazil trying to find some rhythm. They must be totally perplexed as to what went wrong in that first half. Once again, David Luiz trying to play as a supplementary attacker now. But they can leave themselves exposed. Germany look to break here through the centre with Kroos, 2 forward, and they are exposed. It might just not get to the man coming in, surely, because Julio Cesar reaches for the ball. Löw may well be achieving his destiny here. Bernard, the sprightliest of the Brazilians, lays it square for Paulinho. Denied by Hervidis. The stretch from Paulinho, the takedown of Hervidis is illegal. In the opinion of the referee, who is the only one that matters. The only time Brazil have failed to score in these finals was in the goalless draw with Mexico. Well, there's plenty forward here in yellow. 5-0 is that scoreline, as it was, and seems to have been for a long time now. Since the 29th minute, actually. So Brazil have not conceded for 36 minutes. It's a very strange thing to be saying. Luis Gustavo. Dante. There must be rocked. His appearance, his first appearance, coinciding with this concession of 5 goals. Fred, to their credit, Brazil are still battling, but again Fred is being booed by the Brazilian fans. Ramirez looking for a chink in the German armour. Luis Gustavo. Germany content to sit back, only one player up in front of the ball, that is Thomas Müller, who has taken over from Klose as the main striker now. Still David Luiz. Can't get a meaningful touch on the ball. Oh, if this one goes through the middle, Brazil are in dire straits. Schweinsteiger allows it to run through. Julio Cesar to the rescue for the umpteenth time in this half when Germany have broken. Maybe we're going to have a goalless half. And after all the thrills and spills of the first 45 minutes. Paulinho, good-looking ball here. Taken down by Bernard. Seville in the yellow await. Overhead kick, wide. Just not happening for Brazil, I'm afraid. Offside anyway. Offside awarded by the referee's assistant, Marcos Quintero from Mexico. It all looked very good until the final touch. Well, Julio Cesar has prevented a goal on at least 3 occasions when one seemed a certainty in this half. But Germany are 23 minutes away from moving forward into the final. Their first final since 2002. Nobody has played in more finals than Germany. And Brazil are going to make their third switch. Willian, not a great time to come on when your side's losing 5-0 though. Schürrle, the whistle's already sounded. Free kick for Germany. And a yellow card shown for the first time in this game to Dante to complete his day. Dante there. The one number 13 on the other, and one was unlucky. That one, Dante. First booking of the match. Well, Brazil have lost only one of their last 26 international matches. They were beaten in a friendly in Switzerland last August, almost a year ago. So what a day to choose for their next defeat. And they have to defend once again. Lahm. Wide is Khedira. Back into Lahm. Square. 6-0 it is. Müller, and hardly anybody is celebrating. And I think some Brazilians will be leaving Estadio Mineirão now, because this equals the heaviest defeat in Brazilian history. Going back to 1920 when they lost 6-0 to Uruguay, and the resounding boos around the stadium are for not only the concession of the goal, which was so easy for Müller to dispatch. This made it 6-0. It's Müller's second of the day. It's his 6th of these World Cup finals and his 11th in the last 2. Schürrle it is with the goal. My apologies. Schürrle it was who stroked it in. 6-0. We're all getting carried away here. Fred was taken off to resounding boos to be replaced by Willian. This is a devastating day for Brazilian football. Perhaps even more devastating than the one in 1950 when they lost to Uruguay. André Schürrle with his 2nd World Cup goal and his 15th at international level. Well, I won't say rounds off a complete day of utter misery for Brazil, because there are still 20 minutes to go. They might have a goal of their own here. They may not as well. Schürrle leading a breakout, and who knows what the scoreline may finish as. You really feel for Brazil now. Khedira, once again, Germany have found the appetite for more goals. Well, there is a disconsolate man. He really was booed to the rafters when he came off. A man who's upset the Brazilian public more than anybody else. This is hit long by David Luiz. This little fella here, Bernard, has kept going. Willian. Is there one moment of joy for Brazil? Not from this effort. Well, I'm not quite sure what that look means from Scolari. That was the last animation we saw of Fred, Luis Gustavo, and just everybody in the yellow persuasion today is heartbroken. A totally unpredictable day in a World Cup semi-final. And now I do see some people in yellow shirts leaving the stadium. Home to the sanctuary and quietness of their homes, where they just want to forget about this day, which promised so much. Mertesacker. They're picking out the men again here, Germany. Almost at will. Brazil backtrack. And this time no harm done. The ball allowed to run dead by Maicon. Well, it will be interesting to hear what he has to say at the press conference after the game. No wonder they're smiling on the German bench down there. Willian. 5 Brazilians forward here. They need to get one of these moves right just to take some solace from a horrid day. Short into the area. Plenty of yellow shirts around. Almost too many, if anything. And Neuer is equal to the final shot from Paulinho. Muller started the party, remember, in the 11th minute, and the goals coming thick and fast in that first half. A couple from Toni Kroos, one from Miroslav Klose, one from Sami Khedira, and now the 69th minute effort from André Schürrle, completing total humiliation for Brazil in their own country. Özil, back by Lahm. Mertesacker for Schürrle. We'll be on to this one again. A lot of red and black shirts around here in the Brazilian half as they probe and look for one more opening. Bernard, the one player who really does seem to have managed to keep going in this half. It would only be a derisory cheer, I think, if Brazil did manage to put one goal on that score chart. 15 minutes remaining. This ball too long. Well, it's going to be a first World Cup Finals appearance here for a young man, Draxler, from Schalke, 20-year-old Julian Draxler, who's had no taste of World Cup football in these finals as yet. What an amazing moment for you to come on in a World Cup semi-final with your team 6 goals to the good. And it will be Bastian Schweinsteiger, I think, who'll be replaced with the biggest grin in town. Oh no, it's going to be Khedira, not Schweinsteiger. Well, Khedira had been a slight doubt before the game. He picked up a knock in the last match, which caused his withdrawal, but he gives way for Draxler for the closing quarter of an hour. He scored a goal today, Sami Khedira. I wonder if young Draxler can get one. You'd fancy almost anybody in a German shirt to score now. Bernard for Brazil, then Willian, Luis Gustavo. In cricketing parlance, Germany might well declare, but on the other hand, they might be totally ruthless and go for as many as they can possibly get. There's a bit of a kick out here. And Muller and David Luiz are not on the best of terms at the moment. A lot of finger pointing going on. And Muller is not best pleased, certainly. Luiz on the ball. I followed through to fresh air shot in golfing terms. Muller turning his back. I think David Luiz thought he stamped on his foot. And it all led to a little bit of nastiness and a bit of play acting. At the end of the day, Senor Rodriguez took no action. Brazil 0, Germany 6 with 13 minutes to go. Mertesacker has agreed a new contract with Arsenal in the English Premier League. Left out of the starting lineup again today with Boateng in at centre-back alongside Hummels, and then Hummels taken off at half-time. Boateng now playing in the left full-back position. Space opening up again, but this time it's spotted by David Luiz. Oh, what a night they're going to have. But, they might have number 7 here now. They have got 7. It's hammered in. An absolutely terrific strike from Schürrle, who has his second in a matter of minutes. And this embarrassment for Brazil is more acute by the minute. It was an acute angle. He loves the finish. It's a rasping one. But the Brazilians just want to go back to the dressing rooms. If the earth could come up and swallow them, they'd be happy at the moment. Never ever have they seen a day like this. It is now a record defeat for Brazil. Julio Cesar has had to pick the ball out of his net 7 times. Schürrle lashed it in off the underside of the bar. And it leads to the most extraordinary scoreline, I think, in World Cup history. I think it's fair to say this. 79 minutes played in Belo Horizonte, and a scoreline: Brazil 0, Germany 7. You heard it right. That for Brazil, it's all gone wrong. 2 goals for Schürrle today, 3 in these finals. Here are Brazil with an attack with Bernard. Oh, Ramirez gets it all knotted up in his feet now. Well, Schürrle got a hat-trick recently against Sweden in a qualifying type. He's on a hat-trick again now. Ramirez for Brazil, who are being roundly booed by all the supporters in the stadium, and there are 58,141 of them. And apart from the Germans in that crowd, I'm afraid the rest are very, very unhappy. Even if they score now, it won't mean anything. They might score. Marcelo wide. Oh, do they want to hear that final whistle? But they've got 10 minutes at least to wait for it. There is it. That's it. That's the scoreline of this World Cup or any World Cup. We'll have folk talking around the world for a long, long time. Neuer. The funny thing is, the first 15 minutes of the second half, Brazil might have scored 2 or 3 times, but for Neuer. What can Brazil, their players and their coach, say to the public after this? Boateng. Philip Lahm. For Muller. Oh, was chanting Olays for the German passing. Lahm a second time in the move. There are 3 in red and black across the edge of the 18-yard zone. Özil. Short in here. Schürrle's figured in the move twice. Lahm a 3rd time. It's a training ground exercise now for the Mannschaft. Boateng, how many passes have they put together here? Well, this is extraordinary. They're just looking to get goal number 8. In cricketing parlance, they've declared. Well, I'll be showing you highlights at the end of the game. Lowlights so far as Brazil is concerned. There are 110 television stations covering this match here in the stadium today, and I'll guarantee not one of them predicted this scoreline. The game being beamed globally to billions. And I'll be amazed if anybody had a bet on this scoreline. They'd be a billionaire if they did. And still they continue to put the passes together. Still Brazil retreats. Still Brazil dreads it getting to 8. Schürrle is in there trying to help himself to another one. I think it'll be the fastest get off a field that you've ever seen in World Cup history when Brazil leave. Oscar. Bernard. And now it is Brazil who managed to stroke the ball around as if to say, well, we can still play football. And to say today has not been their day would be the understatement of the year. Luis Gustavo to David Luiz, who suddenly turns up at outside left. Well, Brazil have been all over the place all day. Marcelo. Ramirez goes for goal, can't beat Neuer. A shot. Brazil have had plenty of those in the second half, hardly any in the first. And here they come again with Özil. Schürrle, who's enjoyed himself as substitute. Five minutes to go. 5 minutes of torture if you're a Brazilian. 5 minutes of bliss if you're a German. All too easy. The steam went out of the match as early as the 28th minute. And Brazil's only response really came early in the second half when they looked as though at least they might get a goal, but I think even that is a forlorn hope for them now. This will be no battle. And I'm afraid this will go down on the CVs of every one of these Brazilian players, but for André Schürrle here, he's just added to his CV with a crunching second goal. Second for him, 7th for Germany. And the Brazilians applauded the quality of Schürrle's strike. I'm afraid they've had nothing of quality from their own players to applaud all day. The World Cup will be over for many Brazilian people now, but their team will have to go to the capital Brasilia on Saturday to play in the 3rd, 4th playoff match, while Germany will contest the World Cup final in the Maracanã in Rio on Sunday. Three minutes remaining. And the miss by Marcelo opens the door for Schürrle. Germany will probably get a corner from this. They will. Well, he's putting his feet up now. Probably could have put them up after half an hour. And Scolari was talking yesterday about the hurt of losing to Germany on past occasions as the Portuguese coach. Not as the Brazilian coach. He was the World Cup winner in 2002 against this same opposition. Talk about revenge. Kroos. And Draxler featuring through the midfield. There's much talk about him potentially going to another club, possibly Arsenal, from Schalke. This is the goalkeeper's ball. He's had enough, he's seen enough of it. He's had to pick it out of the net most of the day. On goes Marcelo in company with Willian. Willian's through ball here is Oscar's. He's onside all the way through the area. I'm afraid there's got to be no tangible reward for Brazil today. Nice little ball from Willian, and his Chelsea colleague Oscar there beat Neuer, but couldn't find the net. And I think the referee has decided that no additional time might be a very good idea today. It will save further embarrassment and humiliation for Brazil. Unless they can just find one goal from Bernard. No, it's slashed over the bar. We're inside the last minute of the most extraordinary 90 minutes we've had here in the World Cup of 2014. Germany will have the last attack of the day. They might even get the 8th goal of the day. It should have been 8. It really should. But Mesut Ozil can't apply the coup de grace he doesn't need to do. The Brazilian throats were slit long ago, and Mesut Ozil just failed to heap further embarrassment on the host nation. Now Oscar, maybe he can chip the keeper, maybe he can force one in. Oscar, he's got a goal. It's Brazil 1, Germany 7. And I have never seen a goal less celebrated in my life. The Brazilian supporters don't know what to do. They don't know whether to laugh or to cry or to cheer or to groan. This is what they've been waiting for all day. Oscar into the centre, onto the centre spot actually, and Manuel Neuer at last is beaten by somebody in the canary yellow shirt of our World Cup hosts. Oscar's the name. It makes the scoreline even more astonishing. Brazil 1, Germany 7. Well, Julio Cesar maybe did celebrate. Neuer's furious at conceding a goal in the 90th minute. And the referee decided then we would have a couple of minutes of added time. All very strange. You might get another one here. Bernard, he's onside. Brazil have two across in the centre. It's pulled back in for Willian. And now there are chances of Brazil. It's not in the Germans' nature to let them score again. But everybody's coming up bar the goalkeeper. What an extraordinary situation this is. Gets through to Willian. David Luiz, well, he scored from this range in the last game with a better shot than that one. Well, we were all hoping for an 8-goal final. Well, we might get a 9-goal one yet. That's a foul. And surely the referee is going to blow the final whistle. He raises his arm. Boos ring around the Stadio Mineirão in Belo Horizonte. The Brazilians sink to their knees. The only word you can think of is total disbelief right now. Scolari magnanimously goes to shake the hands of the new World Cup record holder Miroslav Klose. Manuel Neuer there defied Brazil in the early minutes of the second half, by which time the game had gone. It was gone away from Brazil in the opening half an hour, with Muller and Klose and Kroos twice and Khedira all on the score sheet. Schürrle got his name on it twice in the second half, and Oscar summoned up a response from Brazil in the 90th minute. Scant consolation on a most extraordinary semi-final. Jogi Löw's side will play in the World Cup final in Rio on Sunday against either the Netherlands or Argentina. But the final score here in Belo Horizonte was Brazil 1, Germany 7.